Manga Monday and Happy Pride Month. I had to whip out the tie-dye that actually my boss gave me last year for a specific program we were doing that was tie-dye, and I just looked at it and I'm like, it's some interesting placement of the tie-dye. Specifically, she picked it out for me. I gotta wear it. It's very special. Oh my gosh. But anyway, to kick off officially the month of Pride on my channel, I had put up a poll, which all you lovely people were so kind enough to vote on, and you wanted me to talk about the recent manga that I've really enjoyed. And so these are all from like this year. I'm gonna give a shout out to two that like came out later last year just because I really like them. And I also got a drink, not sponsored, because look, it matches perfectly with my lips. I couldn't resist. So yeah, come sit down, enjoy, have a drink with me, and let's get into the BL that I've read recently that I really love and recommend. First up, I just want to give a little shout out to these two older series because I really love them. I mean, they're not old by any means. Like their first volumes just came out last year, so they're still relatively new. And I actually just read the first volume this year for my BL marathoning video if you want to check that out. See what other BL I've been reading this year. But yeah, first up, I read last year Lullaby of the Dawn, and this is volume 1. There are currently, I think, 3 volumes out, with the 4th one coming out very soon, if I'm remembering correctly. And the art is stunning. Like, you can tell by the cover, like, which drew me to it immediately. There is an age gap romance, but I really don't mind, just, letting you know in case it would bother you. But I really think this story is unique and interesting, and the plot just like keeps me invested, as do the 2 main characters because they're super sweet. But I love a BL with like a really like interesting and gripping plot, and it's fun to find one with a more fantasy heavy, deeper plot. So on this island, there are these children that are called Kanagi, and they are warrior priests that are like stationed in different areas of the island, and every night they have to protect the island and fight the like dark creatures that are coming out of the sea, and where these creatures come from, why they're attacking just this island, like what are the Kanagi, and when did this all start and why? Like, there's so many questions, so many mysteries. And we have Elva, who is the Kanagi, and they always have stark white hair when they become the Kanagi, and then their extremities start to turn black, and eventually it's like the darkness of the ocean eats away at them and turns them all black, and then they die, usually quite young. But in this case, Elva is repeatedly visited by Alto, who ends up moving to his part of the island when he's rather young. So like I said, age gap. And even though Elva does end up looking like the younger one in their relationship as Alto ages, because he doesn't really age anymore. But yeah, Alto is a small child who's fascinated with the Kanagi, and he starts to just want to spend more and more time with Elva. Just really becomes attached. For some reason, the dark marks on Elva begin to stop growing, and Alto also isn't affected by the dark water. So Alto's a mystery in and of himself. And so the fantasy mystery elements in this one, and just the cute couple, like, I totally recommend you pick this one up. I absolutely love it. Next up is one way more rooted in reality, and that is Pink Heart Jam. So I know I'd read this online, but I didn't really remember what I thought of it. And upon rereading it, I just really enjoyed it. It's a way more spicy out the gate than Lullaby of the Dawn is. And it is right now a duology. There is like a third kind of continuation in Japan. So it's not complete at 2 volumes, even though it feels pretty complete, like it could be. But I know there's a third one out in Japan, so sometime at some point maybe that will make it over here, who knows. Anyway, this is just about 2 college students. We have Haiga, who starts school in the big city and he's trying to make friends, so he joins a music club. And in that music club, he is immediately drawn to one of the seniors, Kanai. That's how I'm saying his name. It's probably wrong. I tried a lot and it's as good as it's gonna get. But yeah, so by pure happenstance, Haiga ends up finding out about Kanai's side hustle. He works at a brothel for men, but Haiga is not, you know, deterred from this at all. It doesn't like dampen his feelings towards Haiga that are growing ever more. He just has even more of an interest in him now. And it awakens like his own sexual identity. Like, is it admiration for a senpai or is it more? So yeah, I like the spiciness. I like the just kind of slowly figuring out their feelings towards each other, and you know, it's just like a little bit angsty, but nothing too heavy. And it's a good spicy little time. And yeah, I really enjoyed their relationship and them as characters too. And Kanai is so hot. Like, who wouldn't fall for him? Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay, moving on to the ones that released this year. So we have 4, and 3 are first volumes and 1 is standalone. So I'll start with the standalone. I also talked about this in my BL Binge-a-thon video because I read it during that, and that is All You Want, Whenever You Want. And if you couldn't tell by that salacious cover, it is spicy. It is a good spicy time, okay? It is a workplace romance, and opposites attract, which are just like 2 things that I tend to really enjoy. I love me a good workplace romance, and opposites attract, like, yeah. So they kind of clash at the office when the tyrannical workaholic boss Tsubaki and the new hire Makino first meet, and he doesn't think they're gonna get along at all. But then Makino ends up moving into the company dormitory, which I find such an interesting thing in Japan, that like certain businesses and places have these dormitories set up for singles so they can live nearby, but they have to share like college. Like, I don't know, it's so weird. But anyway, so they're in this work dormitory, and you know, they might just get a little closer than colleagues. It's a very straight to the point, nothing much to add to this except for it's a steamy, spicy, like good time. It's a good time. So yeah, if you're looking for that, look no further. I just don't see enough people posting about this, and maybe like the cover turns you off and you're like, oh, it's just gonna be like pure smut, which I'm not downplaying. There's a lot of smut, but it's got a really sweet core. Like, I love them. They're so sweet. They like complete each other. It's precious, you know. The opposite pieces connect perfectly. All that cheese. I love it. I eat that cheese up. Moving right along, we have one that it's not quite Omega, but it's Omega-ish, I would say. And that is Romeo. This is another one I don't see many people talking about. And, you know, if you've read any of these, please do comment below, because I love to hear your opinions on them. Especially ones I just like don't see like talked about as much. So this one was a cover buy for me. This art, it'd be beautiful. Like, it just, yeah, it's alluring. The back art is also very fire. So story-wise, it's a lot. This one also has a fantasy story, but because it kind of just dumps a whole bunch of information on you, which is not my favorite, but if you can get past that, like the first chapter, it's like, okay, it's a lot of like reading intensive, like lore intensive world building. And then we meet all these characters and it's like, oh my God, okay. And then after that, it really settles into the main story, which is that Koyo here is a lichen. And though there are other, what it refers to as beastmen in this universe, Koyo is like somewhat different than the rest of them. And he has super strong pheromones that can like seduce any of them except for Jade, that is. So Koyo had a kind of connection and relationship with another older beastman when Jade joined their group. It's a lot of lore. I'm not going to go into all of it, but essentially Jade feels like they are like a pair and that he would never get in between them. But Koyo really feels that Jade is his fated pair. So yeah, that's like basically the gist that you need to know. There's a lot more to it. If you want to know more, you'll have to pick it up for yourself. But yeah, I just really like when they started just narrowing it down on Koyo and his desire for Jade, but his like inability to express his feelings and just communicate. You know, but it's angsty and it's smutty and steamy and it's just I am a sucker for a character that's just like not interested for some reason. It does not speak well to my character. I do realize this. What does this say about me? Nothing good, that's for sure. But I love the cold character or the character that's just like, no, we can't be together. But then like, you know, eventually. But I don't know why, it just does it for me. It's like the will they, won't they, back and forth bull crap. It does it. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, the boys are handsome as fuck. They are so nice to look at. Like I said, the art's very nice. And I went in very apprehensive and was not blown away by the first chapter. Like this was one that really like, by the end, I was super sucked in and I was like, oh my gosh, I need volume 2. I have no idea where volume 2 is. I mean, June Manga like publishes like 2 manga a year at this point, it seems. So I don't know when we'll get volume 2, which is just disappointing because I would really like more Koyo and Jade moments. Like that's the story in the world building is interesting and adds an element, but unlike in Lullaby of the Dawn, it's not a huge deal for me. It's more just the will they, won't they of Koyo and Jade, and will Koyo get his head out of his ass and just confess already instead of being coy and aloof and cool. Men. Yeah, it's angsty and it's steamy and it's just one of those ones that grows on you. At least it did for me. I don't know. I'm curious if anybody else has read this, what you thought of it, but I really enjoyed my time and I can't wait for volume 2 whenever we do get that. Second to last, we have one that I just got and read last month. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the X in this. KX, Yaku Bound by Law. So there are 2 types of stories that I will pretty much guarantee you I will pick it up if I see it. And one is actually going to be featured in a video next week for you all. And the other is anything to do with Yakuza, mafia, gangsters, detectives, especially detectives going undercover in the Yakuza, which is exactly what this is. Oh my God. Why is it so good? Why, like, especially BL and mafia, I'm like a sucker. I'm a sucker. I see it, I want it, I need it, I got it. Like, end of story. And this one did not disappoint. I loved it so much that I went online and I read more of it, as much as I could get my hands on. And I still want more. Like, I did not get all of it. I'm not satisfied in the least. But I don't know, there's something about it that like grabs me, and just, these characters are so well written. The romance aspect is very much on the back burner though, I will say. Slow burn. Like, we're talking glacial, okay? So if that's not your speed, maybe you won't enjoy this as much as I do. But I do love a slow burn, like especially when the characters in the storyline are really intriguing, so it keeps me invested. But yeah, so we have Ichiro, who is an agent with this subsect of, you know, the government, essentially, like public security, whatever. And he receives an order to make contact and closely survey Shiro, a Yakuza hotshot, whose bed partners include a considerable number of influential male politicians. So they think like, hey, he's gay, you go buddy up with him. Sorry. I just think it's so stupid. And it is stupid because Shiro's immediately like, you're not fucking gay and you're probably a cop. Get the fuck away from me. But they end up striking a deal for him to pretend that it worked, because they have a shared vested interest in the cold case disappearance of Rion. So Rion was Ichiro's senpai in the bureau. She, like, you know, showed him the ropes and mentored him. And she also happens to be Shiro's sister. Not technically biological, but they family, you know, they grew up in the same orphanage. So they both want to know what happened to Rion, and so they secretly team up and decide to pretend to be lovers. So, you know, it's close proximity, shared, you know, living space, and it's really it's really like their interactions and getting closer together is really cute, and they grow like a genuine like bond with each other and like begin to care about each other. But obviously it starts in using each other to, you know, get more information on Rion and, you know, solve the mystery of what happened to her. So yeah, like I said, I love a mystery, and I just really love these two. I think they're so cute together, and I really hope it works out for them. But yeah, if you like BL that is just more like story driven and more like this is like a crime suspense drama with that like BL undertone more or less, you know, then I definitely think you should give this one a try. I haven't, again, heard anyone talking about it, and it was just so good to me. Like, it was like immediately I was drawn in and immediately loved both these characters. I love Shiro and Ichiro. They're great. They're so great. And lastly, I got reincarnated in a BL world of big man boobs. And as soon as I saw the title, I'm like, I have to check it out. Like, I have to check it out. And it did not disappoint, because it is so funny. Like, it's so tongue-in-cheek. If you are a big BL reader like I am now, I mean, it's more recent, but like, you know, I have consumed quite a lot of BL in the recent years. And so you will be aware of certain tropes, certain, you know, cliches, like in shoujo, like in any genre really. There are certain things that just get repeated a lot of formulas that, you know, work, so they do it. And in this one, it's just kind of pointing out all the funny little, the funny moments and stuff with typical BLs and how kind of contrived or over the top it is, and just like pushing it to the nth degree of that, you know? And so it's also a reincarnated isekai premise, which, you know, I love that. So obviously I picked it up, and it's a funny comedic, really nice art, especially if you like them big, beefy mans. Because the main man that's being kind of pushed onto our protagonist as his love interest, a little bit against his will, but he's not really fighting it that hard, to be honest with you. He's the like really big muscle bound guy that's super soft, and that dichotomy is really cute. He just wants him to look his way, and it's so cute and endearing, and you're just like, oh, come on, just do it. Just throw him a bone. Just go out with him. He's adorable. But anyway, Nagare, our main protagonist, is not too thrilled because he was straight in his former life, though he had no luck with women. He really wanted a big boobed girlfriend. So when he got reincarnated into an isekai world, he was like, this is my golden ticket. Until he realized he'd been reincarnated into a BL world. The god of this world is pulling the strings behind the scenes. Pretty obviously too, like that he wants to try and hook Nagari up with another guy because it's a BL. So he is just being like attacked by the man boobs and the man hot moments, like not literally attacked, but like just like assaulted with these BL moments and situations. And he ends up with his face this is off the back, okay? His face planted deeply in some luscious cleavage. But to his dismay, it's the magnificent pecs of the supermuscular, but sometimes bashful, class delinquent Ryuji. So yeah, he's that cute paradox of being like super delinquent, tough, badass, but like blushy and shy and awkward and cute and fluffy. Especially around Nagare, because he's so into him immediately, like it's love at first sight. It's so silly. But yeah, so now Nagare must try to dodge a barrage of BL scenarios that hurtle into his path. So yeah, it's just silly, ridiculous, over-the-top hijinks that come out of nowhere. Just keep trying to shove him over to the BL side, presenting him with many a temptation to trying to switch sides. I don't know how like great a pride read this is, but hey, I enjoyed it. I found it fun because while it picks on the kind of tropes and cliches of some of the yaoi and BL out there, it's doing it in such a lighthearted and charming way, and you just can't help but fall in love with these adorable and goofy characters and their silly little moments and antics. And yeah, so if you want a lighthearted, more comedic BL, I definitely think you should pick this one up. And yeah, that'll do it. I think that this is a good array of different types of BL, so hopefully one of them piqued your interest and you're willing to give it a try. And yeah, of course, I loved all of them. 5 stars to you all. You were great. And if you read any of them, let me know in the comments, and let me know what other BLs you've read recently that you just really loved. I mean, they don't have to be newer BL. I just kind of like decided to go that route, and I really don't think I've just started reading some older BL now for Pride, but I hadn't like really loved any of the older ones that I read. Not to say I didn't like enjoy them, but like these just happened to be the ones I loved, and that they're all relatively new. In next week's video, I mentioned we're talking about another topic that I just can't resist. Like when I see it, I know I'll eventually pick it up. So I know it's June and summer's right around the corner, but I hope you tune in for next Monday's spooky vampire video, where we're talking about the Yuri vamps and we're talking about the yaoi vamps. We're talking about all the vampire LGBTQ plus manga that I could find in print and get my hands on. So yeah, I hope you enjoy a little, you know, a little fall vibes just before the beginning of summer. So double check, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss next Monday's Vampy Fun video. And if you like this video, please do hit the thumbs up button. I'm super grateful for every sub and like and comment. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next time, lovelies, bye!